The March Madness. They'll be a number 1 seed
Do
in
you
the
think they're a
NIT.
bubble team? I don't think they sniffed the bubble.
It's the same thing every year. They'll beat Auburn on the road, then
Mm,
they'll turn around and lose to Morehead State at home. It's this
Marshall
constant.
Henderson's not walking through that door.
No,
What's real and what's not real when it comes to Jaxson Dart? As someone who watched every snap from Jaxson Dart this fall, what
and
did you
also
see? What did you hear nationally where you're like, okay, they clearly have not watched a lot of Jaxson Dart? Like, what was real and what wasn't? Because for me, all year, I didn't trust him, where it was like so much of Quinshon Jenkins and the success they've had in the run game was partly because he did some stuff, but it never felt like Jaxson Dart was ready. It was still a growing pains, like we're not taking the training wheels type of year for him. That is what I got the sense of watching him week in, week out. But what did you see and what did people miss nationally when they did not watch Jaxson Dart throughout the course of the full season?
I think what you just said is spot on. I mean, it was a growing pain year, and we always knew it was going to be a growing pain year. Jaxson Dart came to Ole Miss February or March or whatever it was, January. He had not played more than 6 games at USC. So he came in, he was not this sophomore. He wasn't a redshirt freshman coming in with experience under his belt. He was a fresh out of high school, had got thrown into a bad USC team in a bad situation without a head coach in a conference that's very different from the SEC. So Jaxson has always been raw. He's a raw quarterback, a raw talent, and he's young. I mean, he's only, I think he just turned 19 recently. It's not like he's this 21-year-old kid, Dylan Gabriel, transferring from UCF to Oklahoma, where it's okay, you're this plug and play guy right away. You are now the future. Let's do this thing. You're back with your old offensive coordinator. Dart's coming in, learning a new system. The quarterback battle lasted all the way, until the first week of the year, when there probably was a reason for that. Jaxson wasn't entirely ready. And that's okay. And that's, like you said, they gave the ball to Judkins a lot, perhaps even too much in some instances. His legs down the stretch against Alabama were not there because Ole Miss gave him the ball too much in that game. That was always going to be the case. It wasn't supposed to be Judkins. It was supposed to be Zach Evans. But what happened. Judkins is him. So the biggest thing that national people who didn't watch Jaxson Dart, and now I've been watching Jaxson Dart. So both my parents went to USC. So I'm USC and Ole Miss guy. I grew up, the 2005, 2004 Ole Miss USC team was what got me into sports and what got me into college football. So I knew about Jaxson since his senior year of high school at Corner Canyon out there in Utah, and he just slings the ball. But he wasn't playing against great competition. He didn't really have much of a pass rush, and he just would sling it around. Some of the throws were very ill-advised. That was the case again this year, and that's all right. Lane knows what to do with quarterbacks. Matt Corral had a couple years under him, so it was a quicker learning process. This year was the learning year for Jaxson Dart. So the fact that Ole Miss was able to do what it did with a quarterback who wasn't quite there yet speaks wonders to what they could be next year. And that was always going to be the case. Jaxson was never going to be this, turn around and become this Matt Corral hero where you're carrying him out on the shoulders and build the statue and all that stuff in year one. He could be next year. He could be 2 years from now. But it was never supposed to be the case this year. It was always going to be run heavy. It was always going to be relying on your playmakers to go make plays around a young kid who is raw and still learning. And that's exactly what we saw, because there were a lot of throws that Jaxson shouldn't have made. But then at the same time, he was making some of these throws. It's like, whoa, that one right there, that's why you bring him in from USC. That's why you get on a flight to Los Angeles and, throw on your Dior Jordan dunks and get out there and talk to him and his family in Los Angeles. That's why you do that. But then there are also moments of, oh, this is still only, week 13 for him, week 14 for him. So he's young, he's learning, and now he'll have an entire offseason to get in the weight room, to get with Kiffin and just do the, quarterback whisperer thing. And I think he'll be a lot more decisive and technical next season. Whereas this year he was really loose and I don't know, the antonym for technical.
I don't know either. What is do you expect any staff changes? Ole Miss had some coaching staff changes after last year.